Good morning, folks. Just want to do a quick short video describing the differences of the original R1 design for the large board table and the modifications and changes to what will be called R2, which are the revised design for the project. So what we're looking at here is the original design. Overall length of this table was 300 inches, overall width 120. The overall depth of the work surface was 32 inches. Height from the floor to the top of the table, 30 inches. Modular sections, 60 inches long. Our new revised drawing, see here, the overall length, 304 inches. Overall width, 130. Overall depth of work surface, 36 inches. Overall height from floor to top of table is 30.5 inches. Modular sections are now 64 inches long. Biggest reasons for these modifications to accommodate existing floor core locations, as well as to accommodate chair at maximum height, and then also chair at maximum depth. So what I mean by that, if I turn this X-ray view on here, and we look at this chair. So if we take this chair and someone gets up from their meeting and they decide to push the chair all the way in so that the back of that chair hits the table, you can see here that the casters will not be an issue. They will not hit that case. So that's why we've revised the overall size of this table. Existing floor core locations, you can see we've got to deal with what we got. What you're looking at here is the internal base structure. This base structure has continuous unobstructed wire passage throughout. Floor cores, as you can see here, will be accessible when removable panels are off and doors are open on the modular tables. This one gets a little tricky here, but we'll have no problems modifying these parts and pieces to accommodate that floor box. This new table design is fabricated from that ends up being more parts and pieces. So the original design table, if I go back here and we look at the structure, the pedestals, there were less amount of pedestals, but these pedestals also included steel strut support to support the top. As it turns out, that steel strut would be an issue when pushing the chairs in at their maximum height. So we needed a way to sort of remove that. So again, the original design ended up with a total of 16 pedestals, and those pedestals were fabricated by using sheet goods and then CNC cutting the parts and pieces, edge banding the parts that are exposed. The new design requires that we create a more robust pedestal, and so that means that we are including solid walnut for the top and the front edge, and then we have sheet goods here for the panel. The pedestals you see here, we're going to call these adjustable pedestals, and I'm going to get into what these do and how they function in just a minute. Along with the pedestals, we end up with more cases. So the sections that are between pedestals. So the new design ends up with a total of 14 cases, 4 corner cases, whereas the old original design had a total of 8 cases, 4 corner cases. So again, this is the new design, more parts and pieces. We've got our waterfall front panels. So waterfall by meaning that the grain carries along the front, sort of waterfalls over the edge, and that will carry across the top sections as well that you see there. The section between, we're going to call our hatch band. So there's a band that goes between, grain going in the opposite direction. We have our hatch lids. These hatch lids will conceal Crestron parts. So we could either use a Crestron FT1200, which is a little bit wider, and that is what's shown underneath here. But we can also accommodate a Crestron 202, which is a little bit smaller. So the design will work for either. We just need some clear direction on which locations get which, or if all get the same. Base itself, the U-shaped sections of the table, these will have removable panels. So the base panels will be removable to get to all the wiring. Again, all completely unobstructed wire management throughout. The modular sections, these will be doors. So because the modular sections will be moved in and out, we want to make sure that they are easy to get to the plugs and the wires, so there'll be doors on these sections. So let's talk briefly here about the adjustable pedestals. So let's go back here to the adjustable pedestals. So these pedestals will be on the ends of the U, as well as on the modular sections. So each of these pedestals will be fabricated with solid walnut at the top, solid walnut along the back edge, and then we will have a combination of things happening. We have a case, so sort of a wall here that's fabricated and attached to the solid, and then it's going to have a void in the center, and that void will house what will be the adjustable section of this pedestal. So the section that pulls out and slides in will live in this cavity, and when it's open, it'll look like this. And that section here, this adjustable section, will have casters embedded and will travel along a linear guide. And that piece of hardware you see here, very robust, very strong, low profile. So the blocks will be attached to the section that moves. The rail will be attached to that top section of walnut that you see there, and it will open and close simply by pulling on that front edge of that pedestal. So when the modular sections are in use, we will make sure that they're open so that, let me go jump ahead here a little bit. So the big concern was that in this orientation, in this configuration, when the modular section tables are in use, that we wanted the leg clearances to be open and free throughout here. So you can see that this front edge is not in the same plane as this. It's required that it's a certain dimension for this panel to work. It is 15.5 inches back from the front edge, which is really, really nice considering that old leg clearances, look something like this, where once that was in use, that table leg basically came all the way out to the edge. So the revised drawing, I think we really have come up with a solution that works nicely to sort of keep that as free and clear as possible. The way that this table connects to the U-shaped table. So a couple things. The edge. So along the edges that meet, both on the fixed U section and on the modular sections, on each of those pieces, there will be solid walnut that's glued to the edge. And that solid walnut will have a small micro bevel, a little 16th inch chamfer. And so what that allows is that when this table is moved in and out, we want something durable on those edges, should those edges sort of bump into each other as we're moving these sections in and out. So solid wood will go the whole way the length and also go down that front edge as well. So that's solid wood on all those pieces. Going back to how they connect here. So if these modular sections are off, right? So you roll this, so pulling them out, you basically open up the leg, allowing you to move this freely. So when they're out of here, what we'll have on this section, so at the very top here, right here and down, this is a removable piece of solid wood, and it's actually, it'll end up being about an 1/8 inch thick, and it'll have a VHB magnetic tape on the back side of it. So VHB is a very strong bond adhesive that will be on the back side of that solid wood, and so you basically take off those covers, and what that does is it exposes a series of inserts and also a wire run. So when you put the modular section then in place, you will have fasteners, bolts, 1, 2, 3, that will go through some small openings to connect directly into those inserts. You'll open the doors here in the base, and again, there'll be fasteners along that front edge. So that'll be your connection point. So you'll connect along the top edge, and then the front edge here of the internal side of that open rectangle, so that these portions, when they're attached, are going to be fixed, secure, won't move or wiggle around. So that is how we'll handle connecting those parts and pieces to each other. Couple details that we still need to work out is how the adjustable portion of the pedestal stops and sort of starts. So the locking mechanism that we're going to use, we've got some ideas here on how we're going to accomplish that. But what that's going to require is we do a physical mock-up to determine the best method for that. So that is part of our process and something we will be working through. But overall, I think we've got a great solution for a tricky set of circumstances. So if anyone has any questions or concerns about what we've got here, please give me a call. And also, please keep in mind that what you're looking at here is conceptual. These are not engineering drawings that you're looking at. This is SketchUp, Google SketchUp. Our engineering department will do all the heavy lifting and all the real shop drawings that are required to execute this properly with all correct hardware, casters, all the little tiny details that need to be worked out will be done by those folks and shared with you as we move along. All right. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. All right. Take care.